From examination point of view, this is extremely important. They don't appear instantly. Yes, I already told you students, it will just not be like overnight you decide and then it will happen. It's not like that. They are the result of many years of exploitation of nature and tribal people. For example, Jharkhand Mukti Morcha, it's a movement, it's the name of a movement. It was formed in the year 1973, but did it begin then? Let's look at it. No, but before 1930, so many years before, tribal people of Jharkhand had opposed the actions of companies that rendered thousands of tribal people displaced. Displaced means they had no place to live. They came to these tribal areas for mining activities, and so many tribal people had suffered. So in 1973, they founded the Jharkhand Mukti Morcha. Is one result of such an agitation. Many movements started emerging after various developmental activities funded by the World Bank, because of which a lot of people now, they have a home to live. But there is so much development taking place. Even if they are prioritizing development, they should help resettle these tribal people in an appropriate manner. But they would not do that. Then what would happen? People will oppose. So all the movements opposing raising global temperature, temperature is rising, global warming is happening, exploitation of water resources are grouped under environmental movements. From examination point of view, students, you should know the example of Jharkhand Mukti Morcha. You should also know 2 or 3 examples of movements that come under the broad heading of environmental movements. Many intellectuals, intellectuals means people who are very intelligent and are well read and they have achieved a lot in life. And academicians, people who are very well read, they would have achieved very high amount of knowledge through their research work. They have joined hands with common people in holding movements to protect the environment. Now students, some of the very important and major environment movements we shall study. Chipko movement. It's a very nice movement, students. So they decided that they would cut trees. So the people went and hugged the trees. Chipko. Chipko in Hindi means hug, stick together. So they would hug the tree, saying if you're cutting the tree, we also go with it. And in this way, they could stop so many trees from being cut. It was such a nice thing, no students? Let's look at it. The government had issued license to cut 2,500 trees belonging to Rainy village of Tehri Garhwal district. So there's a district called Tehri Garhwal. There were 2,500 trees and the government had given permission to cut. The woman who learnt about this decided to hug the trees. Look how they're hugging the trees to protect them so that the environment remains protected. This movement of hugging trees is also called the Chipko movement. It took place in the year 1974, a very important date. Though a woman was instrumental behind this movement, its effects were long lasting and government withdrew their permission. They cut off their license for cutting these trees. Next we have Appiko movement. Appiko movement was started in 1983 by villages of Salaini. The local people opposed the move of a contractor to cut trees in Kalase forest. They also did the same thing. Just like Chipko movement, Appiko movement was they hugged the trees. The people launched this movement to protect the trees from being smuggled. Here the trees were being smuggled by a contractor. It was not the government approval. They aimed at increasing awareness among people on why growing trees is so important for us and for earth. Next we have Narmada Bachao Andolan. The Hindi word Bachao means save, Andolan means movement. There was a huge dam to be built where across the river Narmada, under which hydroelectricity project? Sardar Sarovar project, and a lot of tribal people had to be moved from where they were staying to another place. As scientific studies found that the dam would disturb the balance, the ecological balance of the river, they agitated against the dam under the leadership of Medha Patkar. This movement has been going on for a very long period of time. Now let's look at Silent Valley movement. Before we go into learning, in Narmada Bachao Andolan, you should know the name of the dam, you should know the name of the leader. Now Silent Valley movement, a dam was built, proposed to be built where? In the Silent Valley of Palghat of Kerala. It threatened the sensitive ecological balance of which valley? Of the Silent Valley. So, to protect the Silent Valley, people from Kerala Shastra Parishad and wildlife enthusiasts, they protested and they were very successful in stalling. Installing means in stopping the dam from being built and the ecological balance being maintained. Now let's look at coastal Karnataka environment movement. What is the first town that comes to your mind when I say coastal Karnataka? Mangalore. So people of Mangalore opposed against the Mangalore Refineries and Petrochemical Limited. What was this company doing? It was discharging harmful chemicals into the open environment. So they protested saying, how can you do this? This is not right. This movement also it protested against one more thing. What did it oppose? The establishment of Nandikuru Thermal Power Plant and Special Economic Zone. So they wanted to build something like this. They opposed it. Now let's look at the opposition for Kaiga Nuclear Power Plant. So students, nuclear power plants are prominently there in Japan. But after the tsunami took place, the nuclear power plant there was damaged and a lot of nuclear waste was let out into the environment. Nuclear waste is harmful not just to the people in contact with it, but for generations to come. For example, in Hiroshima and Nagasaki, when they dropped the atom bombs, the nuclear bombs, not just the whole city got wiped out. Whoever had been exposed to the radiation, their children, their grandchildren, even their great-grandchildren are still suffering from some or the other health issues. So, due to these concerns, there was an opposition to the Kaiga nuclear plant. The move was to oppose the establishment of Kaiga nuclear plant. It was undertaken by people of coastal Karnataka under the leadership of Shivaram Karanth. It was argued that with the establishment of nuclear power plant at Kaiga, a lot of deforestation will also take place and there is a threat of pollution from nuclear radiation that would spoil numerous species in the ecosystem. Hence, the movement opposed the establishment of Kaiga nuclear reactor. People like Medha Patkar was there in one of the previous movements also in Narmada Bachao Andolan. Sundarlal Bahugana and others have agitated for a long time to achieve success in their endeavors. A lot of movements that have happened to support the environment, they are mostly a form of hunger strike where they protest by a hunger strike. Students, in your textbook, the word of place is spelled wrongly. It's not P-A-L-C-E, it's P-L-A-C-E. Please correct it. So we should know ecology is not an independent science, but it is very part of life. How will we live without a healthy environment? Okay, students, so this brings us to the end of all environment movements. The Chipko movement, the Appiko movement, the Narmada Bachao Andolan, the Silent Valley movement. We learned so many of them. You all should know what was the matter. Why did this movement? And if there was a leader, what was the name of the leader? And were their demands met? That's all you should know. Mostly it's very general in point of view. Like Chipko, if you know the moment, you'll be like, okay, the place is Tehri Garhwal, they hug the trees. Narmada Bachao Andolan, river, it means it will be related to dam. Kaiga, nuclear power plant. With nuclear power plant, what is the problem? The problem is simple, that there will be radiation, it could be ecological damage. So if you know the basic points, you can frame an answer. Just learn the basic keywords and you'll be able to answer any question that can come from this topic. Now let's move on to the next topic, women's movements. Students, what do you think are women's movements related to? Have you all heard of the word patriarchy? If you watched my classes before, definitely you all will know. Patriarchy is a system where just because you are a boy, you're a man, you are treated more superior to a woman. It could not be related to any of the qualities or merit or anything that you possess, but it's just because of the gender difference. So women's movements are to bring equality in a society and move away from a patriarchal society where a male is considered superior to a woman. So among all the mass movements that took place during 1980s across all political parties, women's movements is very important. It opposes patriarchal values that exploit women and the creation of inequality on the basis of gender. Even in the literary world, many books have come out for portraying the various alternative ideas against the exploitation of women. In spite of all of these protests, the number of women affected by dowry is still very high. The exploitation of women in the independent India have undergone a lot of transformation. The patriarchal values that consider women as a slave, oh, she can do the work she's supposed to do, she's supposed to be treated like a slave, has created inequality in society. In these unequal situations, women are subjected to abuse. What kind of abuse? Being beaten physically, being hurled abuses verbally, emotionally. There is dowry harassment, there is rape, and there are so many other exploitations that a woman undergoes on an everyday basis. Domestic violence. What is domestic violence? When there is violence inside the house, when people of your own house, the family that you live with is beating you up, that is called domestic violence. It has curtailed. Curtail means blocked the independence of women within the house and also outside the house. There are so many situations, students, like for example, let's say you want to buy an expensive shirt of 3,000 rupees. Now, you will go to your mom. In homes where there is equality, the mother will be allowed to make the decision for you and say a yes or a no. But if you're in a patriarchal house, mother has no decision making power. She will have to go and request the father saying, the child wants a shirt for 3,000 rupees. Can we please buy it? And she is not an independent decision maker. So there is inequality. So she doesn't have independence to make decisions even for a small matter inside the house, set apart going outside the house. The exploitation of women has taken new forms, like there are acid attacks, like say somebody wants to take revenge, they just take acid and they throw it. You all would have seen in this movie Lakshmi. Kidnapping, human trafficking. What is human trafficking? They would kidnap you. Like if you've seen in the movie Slumdog Millionaire, they just kidnap children and then they put them into begging. They do so many harmful things. So buying and selling of fellow human beings is called human trafficking. Students, in some parts of India, like especially in Haryana, there is something called, in the honor of clan, they do honor killing. What is the meaning of that? Like let's say you have married outside your caste or outside of your religion. Then they would say, oh, this is an insult for our caste, it's an insult for our community, and they would just kill you. And they don't even have the guilt saying, how can they kill? They kill you and say this is in honor of protecting our caste or community. So honor of clan, clan is the community, they do honor killings. And basic rights have not been given. These rights are there as a part of our constitution, and all Indians are entitled to get them. Under which articles of the constitution? Under article 14, 15, 16 and 39. Here there are equal rights for work and even for earning wages. So if you all see any woman who is being exploited, you all should stand up against it, because our constitution promises these rights. The women's movement is a movement that strives to achieve these goals of equality for a woman. Now we will learn about these movements, students. The first one is alcohol prohibition movement. What is this alcohol prohibition movement? Let us look at it. Various movements designed by women questing for alcohol prohibition is the very important one. Prohibition means stop the whole consumption, sale, everything of alcohol. It's different, as a lot of women have shown a lot of unity in this struggle. There are many other movement students, but a lot of women have not come together as united and protested. But for this, there's a lot of support. Total alcohol prohibition was a part of freedom struggle. What did Gandhiji propose? He proposed the total prohibition. What does that mean? No manufacture, no sale, no consumption, nothing, no alcohol in society. It also became a part of the Chipko movement. Chipko movement was the environment movement. It also became a part of environmental movements that took place in coastal Karnataka and in Malenadu. Kusma, Sorba and others, along with few others, have lost their lives. Apart from this, women have protested against sale of liquor, where? In Hassan, Kolar, Mandya, Chamarajanagar district. Alcoholism creates a lot of problems at a personal level. What happens when one consumes alcohol? They lose consciousness, they are not in control of themselves, and it also leads to a lot of domestic violence. It has created problems, several problems in the life of rural women, and it also is a waste expenditure. Students, like, imagine there is so much money that is being spent on alcohol, like on a drink. What do you get out of it? Instead, if that money can be used for education, for development or any other activities, it is so productive. So it's not good in any sense. You drink alcohol, you harm your body, you waste money. There are so many things that are not right about it. The laborers lose their small earnings just because of alcohol addiction. They often forcibly take away money earned by their wives as well. Why? Because they are addicted, they want alcohol. If there will be some savings in the house for education, for any other purpose, for health, they'll just take it because they are addicted. Why? To take alcohol. Hence, women have come together to organize protests against alcoholism because they are troubled by the problems created by it in their life.